Hi, so today I want to show you how I made this. Now it doesn't look very interesting like this. You slide the band off, open it up, and these little boxes pop down. Oh, that one's not stuck down properly. And you end up with that, which stands up nicely. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so I came up with this card, and again, I haven't seen one like this online. This is like a culmination of two cards. Because I did a triple pop-up box cube card. I can't what I called it. Triple pop-up cube box card, something like that. And it's got a bit mad. People are really interested in it and they really like it. And I had one comment about how I'd managed to get the dingly dangly bit in the middle. So I'm making this card just to show you how I've done the dingly dangly bit in the middle. Now for this card, this particular one I'm holding in my hand, I've actually done a strut in the middle to put my things on, in the same way that you would with a pop-up box card. So you know the little S-shaped strut that you have inside. So that's what I've done here. I've done a little S-shaped strut, okay, that stands upright. So then, you know, you can put things on it and then it will fold down flat as well. So that's what I've used for this one. But I'm going to show you what I did for the other card with the dingly dangly bit. So here's the card in question. So this was a card I came up with at the end of last year, end of 2019, and it's difficult to tip it up because you won't be able to see the dingle dangles, but basically this little butterfly is suspended from the ceiling. And so I'd had a question about how I'd done that, because on the actual video for this box, this card, I haven't put in how I did it because it's just it was a bit fiddly, to be honest, so I did it without the dingles, the dangly bits. So this card that I'm making today, I'm basically going to be doing this, but instead of having a strut, I'm going to do it with a dangly bit like I've done in that card. So let's get started. Just put this away. Right, so what you need for this card is, you need, first and foremost, you need a piece of card which is basically A5. This card measures 5 7/8 by 8 1/4. So you literally take the width of your A4 and then cut your whole A4 in half, so it's 5 7/8 tall. Then you're going to take your scoreboard and you're going to score at 1 3/8, at 2 3/4, 5 1/2, and at 6 7/8. Okay, so that's 1 3/8, 2 3/4, 5 1/2, and 6 7/8. So that's your middle bit. And then all you're going to do with this card is you're going to fold the front bit. The first bit is a mountain fold. Then you have a valley fold. Then the next one's a valley fold. And the next one is a mountain fold. There you go, and you end up with a simple kind of gatefold, double gatefold sort of card. Okay, so then what you want for this now is you're going to cover these with bits of paper. Now I've got all my little bits off to one side. So you're going to need 4 pieces of matte paper. So this paper measures 1 1/8 by 5 5/8. Okay, and you're going to go ahead and stick all of them on here, here, here and here. If you want to, this is what I tend to do, is I get my pattern ones on first, get the whole panel, and then stick them on. Your pattern papers are 7/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and stick that onto there and then stick them all onto the card. Right, so once you stuck those down, that's what you get. Now this bit in the middle, you want a matte panel that is 2.5 by 5 3/8, 5/8, sorry, 2.5 by 5 5/8. Now for your pattern panel, it doesn't have to go the full length. So your pattern panel only really needs to cover the top bit. So that needs to be 2.25 by 3 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that onto there and then stick the whole lot onto here. Right, so that's the back of your card done. As I said, don't worry about this section here because you're going to be covering that up with the bottom cube. Okay, so we're going to put that to one side for the moment. So for that base cube, what you're going to need is you're going to need a piece of base card, so the same colour as your base is, and this needs to be 10 3/4 by 2.5. Okay, and this one's very simple to score. You're literally going to score it at 2.5, 5, at 7.5, and at 10. Very simple. While we've got the scoreboard out, we're going to do the other cube as well, the little cube. And this cube measures 6.5 by 1.5. Okay, and on the long edge, we're going to score at 1.5, at 3, at 4.5, and at 6. Okay, so that's all your scoring done now. And then all we're going to do is just going to mountain fold all of these. There we go, like that. Right, let's start with the top one. And we can get that done. Right, so for this, the mats for this one need to be, so you need 2 mats and 2 patterns. I've stuck that one down already, but you need 2 mats and 2 patterns. So your mats are 1.25 by 1.25 and your patterns are 1 inch by 1 inch. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stick this onto here. There we go. Now, when it goes on this card, the whole thing is going to fold up. So say that's the way it's mounted, it's going to fold upwards. I like to hide my join. This is the top. This is the top of my card. This will be the front, and then the join is just at the top there underneath. So you can't really see it then. So because this card, so if you imagine it's going to be like that, so that's the back, that's the front, that's the top. I'm going to make a mark just so we know, because we're going to cover this up anyway. So I'm going to put F for front, T for top, and B for back. Okay, so what this card's going to do is it's going to fold upwards like that. So because it's going to fold upwards like that, we need to make sure that we stick this cube so that when it's flat, we just stick it so that it's flat like that, rather than being like that, for example. Okay, so we're going to put some tape on there. And then all we're going to do is fold the whole thing down like that, because then we know that's the back, it's going to be like that, and that's the way it's going to fold. So once we've got that sorted, we then just need to go ahead and stick our panels on the top and on the front. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that now. Okay, so that's our top cube. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some red tape on the back, just so then I know that that is my, the back that's ready to be stuck down. Okay, so that's the back. I am also going to put some tape on the bottom, but I'm just going to use normal double-sided for that, I think. Right, so there's my cube, the top cube, ready to go. Just going to put it to one side. Right, so we've done this so that the join is at the top. So we're going to do the same on this one. So the join is going to be, oops, at the top, like that. Okay, so this is going to be the top. So I'm going to mark on top. This is the front, and this is the back. Okay, so before we go sticking it together, because this is going to have an aperture cut in the front, we need to make sure that we've stuck the pattern pieces inside and that we've made the relevant holes that we need for the dangly bit, etc. So what you're going to do is you're going to get 2 mats, actually no, you need 3 mats and 3 pattern pieces. Now your mats for this are 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, and your patterns are 2 inch by 2 inch. Okay, so just going to stick this last one on. I've done these 2. What we need to do is we need to stick them, so that's like that. So there's your top, there's your front. So inside at the back here, you're going to stick a pattern piece, and on that base you're going to stick a pattern piece. So if you just open it up, and if you get a bit confused, you just want to stick across so you know you're going to stick. So the first 2 pieces are going to go there, there and there. Okay, so once you've done that, you're now going to have to tackle the hole in the top and the aperture at the front. Okay, so the hole at the top, if you get your pokey tool, anything like that, or if you've got a punch that punches a small, a narrowish, a small hole, then that will do. And all you're going to do is take in that square, so we find the middle. We're just going to go from corner to corner, make a little mark, corner to corner here, make a little mark, and in the middle, that's where we need to punch. So there's our little hole. So now what you're going to do is, if you take some double-sided tape, you can probably use normal red tape, normal tape, but I want to use red tape just because, let me use some thinner stuff actually, just because it's just a bit more secure. Just a bit more secure, and you've got something hanging off it. You want to make sure it's not going to undangle itself at any point. So we're going to put that there. And then all you're going to do is you're going to take choose what you're going to have as your dingly dangly. I'm doing a mail card, so what I've done is I've taken this peel off. I don't really use peel offs very often, but I was given a whole load, so I decided I had to have a go. So we want to take your peel off, and then I've stuck it onto some card, and I've just double backed it, so at least it goes. So I've taken a little peel off and double backed it, and then what I did was, before I stuck the top down, I made a little hole and put some thread through. So now this dingle dangles. So what I'm going to do now is thread my 2 little threads through that hole. Might need to make it a tiny bit bigger. Let's just make it a tiny bit bigger. There you go. And then you just need to work out where you want it to dangle. So I think I'm probably going to need to make it dangle quite high to the top, because you can't really see this, but if I turn it side on, so I don't want it cruising the bottom. So I'm probably going to need it to be, like literally about 1/4 of an inch from the top. So when I've decided where I want it to dangle, I then just need to take the tape off, the backing off, not the tape, you know what I mean. Take the backing off and stick your dingle dangles down. Just double check that it's still behaving. Yeah, that's still hanging straight. Any excess that you have, just chop it off like that. And then for extra security, I use another piece of tape over the top. And this is why I use red tape, because with red tape I know that is really, unless you really pull on that, that's not coming out. That is not, it's sandwiched between two pieces of red tape. That is not coming out for anybody. Okay, so that's your dingly dangly bit. So anyway, once you've done that, you then, actually, you know what, if you're going to cut an aperture in the front using a die cutting machine, you need to do that first before you do your dingly dangly bit. Right, I'm actually going to show you quickly how to do this. If you have stuck your dingly dangly bit on and you do want to use a die, there is a way you can do it, you just have to be careful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it on my cutting plate, make sure it's central, take my other plate and lay it down so that it only goes, if it only do partial die cutting, it only goes to the edge, it doesn't go on this bit, so this is not going to get, oh hello, can't see me. So I've laid it on the edge, this bit is not going to get squashed by the two cutting plates because it's only sandwiched between where the die is. So let me slide this forward. Oh dear, I'm losing my mat and everything. Right, let's just wind this through. Like that. There we go. Right. You can do it, but it's better if you cut it before you've put your dingly danglies on. So now what you want to do is you want to cover up where your dingly dangly bit is. So for that we're going to use our third piece, and that is going to go on the top there, and that is going to cover up that. There's a bit of a bump there. It's better if you use a cotton thread because then it's thinner, but if you haven't, you can, you know, the little box is going to be sat on top of all of this, so that will also help to cover it up. Right, so now we need to put some tape on here. Again, you can use normal for this. And then this is going to fold up again when it shuts. So because of that, we need to shut this and fix it like that, because that's how it's going to fold. Oh no, sorry, it's going to fold that way. It's going to fold that way up. It's going to fold that way up. So that's the way you need to stick it. Thankfully mine is happy to do either, so that's good. Right, so once you've done that, what you need to do next is we're going to fix this to the inside of our card. So for this I will use red tape, just because it's a 3D object, you want it to stick and you really don't want it coming off. Right, so make sure that it's folded the way it's going to be when the card is flattened, and then this is going to stick at the bottom in the middle of your card. So that when you open it up, it sticks at the bottom there. Okay, so next what we want to do is take our little cube, and that's going to sit on top. Okay, don't worry about this being plain, because we're going to put some little embellishments on the front here, like we did with this one. Okay, so for this we're going to stick the this base bit first, and then we're going to stick the back. So fold the whole thing as it's going to be in the envelope, take it right into that corner and make sure it's halfway. And then when you're happy it's halfway and it's in the corner, you can fold the other one up onto it like that. There we go. And then you just then need to take the backing off the tape and then stick that back section down. So there you have your card. And so obviously to fold it up, I'm going to finish decorating the front, but to fold it up, just push it up like that, fold the sides in, and then we're going to make a little band to go around the outside as well. I've noticed as well, because this card that I've used is not that thick, and so I've got a bit of a crack there, a bit of a crease in that corner, which I'm not happy with. So I'm just going to go ahead now and cut myself a little frame that will then strengthen that section there. Right, so I've just made a little black frame, so I'm going to go ahead and stick that on there, which just helps to strengthen the sides. And I've done it out of a actually I think this might be a 300 GSM, this card. So we're going to go ahead now and stick it on. Right, so there we go. And then I've just cut some little embellishments out. Again, these are peel-offs, but I've just backed them onto black card. Little watch, little perfume bottle, a little shoe, and also a watch. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these down now. So there we go, got a little mix of men's items at the bottom there. So that all that's left now is to put Happy Birthday at the back, and I've got some a gold peel off, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on now. Right, so off camera I've just gone ahead and stuck the little peel offs on. I had to do it off camera, otherwise all you would have seen is my head, because you have to get over the top of it. So now what I'm going to do is make the little band. Unfortunately you can't see him dangling down, but anyway, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make the little band now. So for the band you will need a piece of card, again your base card. Now it's up to you really what size you do it. I've done this one about 1.5 wide, and I've done it's 6.5 long, so it's 1.5 this way and 6.5 that way. But I don't think I need 6.5, but I just thought better more than less, you know, not enough. And so what I would do, you can go ahead and just measure it and score it, but if I were you, I would fold your card up like that, lay your band over the top about where you want it to be, and I usually put it just past the centre line like that, and then fold it round, and then fold it round again and get it so it meets up. Because if you don't, as long as you don't do it too tightly, it then means that it comes off nice and easily. Like on this one, the band comes off really nice and easily. I mean, it's probably the best band I've ever done, to be honest, for that one. So this is a similar kind of thing. So and the other thing I also want to do is I want to put the join at the front. Now normally you'd put the join at the back, but I'm putting the join at the front because I'm going to put my circle over the top, which then means that you've got no join at all. You can't see any join. So first of all we're going to stick this down, And I'm going to use red tape. You don't have to, you can use normal tape, but I just think because it's got quite a lot of push going on, because this card wants to open up, it just makes it more secure. So I'm going to go ahead and use red tape for that. There we go, like that. And then we're going to go ahead and stick our black circle on, but before I do that I'm going to go and put my greeting on it just for you. So, little trick for you, you probably all know this, but if you've got a peel off sentiment like this, and I'm doing the just, then the for, then the you, it's very difficult to peel them off with a poker tool and get them in line. Now, I mean, you can use, if you want to, in the past I've used like washi tape as like a ruler and then stood them all up, but it's still a bit of a faff. So the way I do it now is I take a piece of washi tape and I stick it over the top of my peel off, making sure it's on straight. So this bottom line of the tape lines up with the bottom of your word. And then we're going to use this like a transfer tape to then transfer the greeting onto the card. So I'm going to start with the 4 because I need the 4 to be in the middle. And I'm just going to turn this over and very carefully, it depends on how sticky your washi tape is, this tape isn't that sticky, so very carefully peel the backing off, leaving the letters stuck to the washi tape. Like that. Okay, I'm going to flip it over. And then this is a bit tricky because I usually put my head in the way. You're going to line it up like that, rub over the top, and then very carefully peel the washi tape back on itself. And there's your first word. And obviously you can reuse your tape. So let's stick in the U. So there we go. It's not the straightest in the world ever, but it's okay. We can cope with that. So that's going to go on the front of there. So again, I'm going to stick this down with red tape. Right, so there you go. So you slide your band off, and that also slides nicely, which is good. And as you can see, it's slightly concave. It's not a real crease because you want to allow for the wadge that you've got here. And you open it up, bring this down, and there's your card. So I hope you enjoyed making this card. I hope that answers the question about how to do the dingly dangly bit. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.